We often get phone calls and inquiries from policyholders asking about what they should do when they are suspicious about fraud at a client. And I'm going to tell you what I would be recommending here, but I don't want you to be thinking, yeah, now I know what to do and I'm not going to bother calling CAMICO. Please do call. The matter may be something that would need to be escalated and being addressed by our claims department. But from my perspective, risk management wise, it's great to be suspicious, having a little bit of professional skepticism in anything and everything that you're doing. When you're suspicious about it, treat it like you would if you were an auditor under an auditing standard, the 240, AUC 240, which basically says, hey, you're supposed to end up taking your suspicions one level above that in management. The idea being you don't want to go to that person, but you want to go higher than that person to explore the situation. Well, what ends up happening if it's not you that uncover it, but somebody comes to you and tells you, wait a minute, I've got these concerns out there. What should you do? Now, I just talked about what you do if it was an audit. I don't care what level of service you're providing for your client, merely that it's a client. I want you to be following this rule out there. You want to protect that client. That client, if they haven't already terminated that person or taken some kind of action that way, put him on administrative leave or whatnot, they should be encouraged to consult legal counsel. Why? Because there probably needs to be a forensic investigation. To the extent that there is a forensic investigation, it'd be nice to have that forensic investigation covered by attorney-client privilege. So that way, have the attorney be the one that engages the forensic. And some of you are saying, you know what? I would like to be the one that's conducting that service. I'll tell you, if you've got the competence to do so, the general standards say you have to have professional competence for anything that you're doing, then great, you can. But please be cognizant that as you're doing it, there's two factors to consider there. You could inadvertently be impairing your independence by doing this work. And to the extent that you do so, you wouldn't be able to be performing attest services for the period in which you conduct these forensic services. And sadly, it could be that you are papering the file for what's going to ultimately be a case being brought against you for, hey, why didn't you uncover this fraud? So yeah, you're going to say, no, they didn't engage me to do that. But sadly, the claims files at CAMICO are lined with claims being brought against CPAs that weren't asked to do a forensic investigation. But somebody comes along later and alleges that, hey, you should have uncovered that. So we've talked about contacting an attorney, having the attorney be the one that engages the forensic. If they don't know who to contact, you can provide them with a couple of attorneys to go to, or you can provide them with a couple of forensics to go to. But what I don't want you to do is say, hey, go with this attorney and or this forensic, because to the extent that you choose them, again, that puts you in the crosshairs, because if it later turns out that they allege that either the attorney or the forensic didn't cut it, they could be blaming you for having made that selection. No, they need to be making that selection. Okay, so you've gone to them and said, hey, contact an attorney. Do they have coverage for this? If it turns out that there is indeed a fraud out there, maybe they have something that's just covered by whatever insurance they have. And if they don't timely report that, it's problematic. So encourage them to pursue that with their insurance. Okay, here's the awkward one. You've got these suspicions. You don't know exactly what period it covers. It could very well cover a period that precedes the work that you've done. So you're in there doing some work right now, but darn it, the person that allegedly committed this defalcation has been there for several years. How do you end up going back and quantifying that? Do you end up having to restate that prior year? Is it merely the opening balances? If you're doing it comparatively, what do you end up doing here? Is it a subsequent event since it happened after year end? These are the kinds of questions that all need to be answered. And please know that your client probably doesn't want to put out a financial statement that has a line item embezzlement or fraud. So if it's not material to be warranted that way with what left, and it's merely a misclassification of what's out there, you may just have to restate what was done out there before. But that's all things that need to be discussed, and you just got to make sure that these financial statements and tax returns aren't materially misstated. Anything I've just described regarding fraud rings true to you, or fraud concerns rings true to you, please reach out to CAMICO. One more tip I want to say here, don't refer to it as fraud. It turns out that it's only the trier of fact that is supposed to end up using that word. You aren't. You can say that money got diverted or seems to have been misappropriated, but don't end up saying it was fraud. You need to be contacting CAMICO if you've got any of these suspicions. You can reach my department, the Loss Prevention Department, dialing 800-652-1772 and asking to speak to the loss prevention specialist on duty. If it turns out that you're thinking it's more of a claims issue, please, again, call that number, 800-652-1772, but ask to speak to somebody in the claims department. Regardless, contact us either at claims@camico.com if it's offline or lp@camico.com if it's after hours. We're here to help. Please contact us early and often. We're here to help.